When he crossed the white line, he changed from friendly family pharmacist into one of the game's hard men. In Worsfold on Worsfold, the two-time Eagles premiership captain relives a memorable and hard-hitting career. He tells it like he played it, no holds barred. Worsfold on Worsfold, the story of an Eagles legend is out now, along with Robert Harvey, the story so far, and Bix, the Mark Bickley story. The AFL Champion Series on video at these stores now. He achieved hero status in South Australia as the first Adelaide skipper to hold aloft the AFL Premiership Cup. To be a back-to-back Premiership captain has assured Mark Bickley's place in football folklore. In Bix, he goes behind the scenes. He tells the stories, relives the moments. Bix, the Mark Bickley story is out on video now, along with Robert Harvey, the story so far, and Worsfold on Worsfold. The AFL Champion Series. Get your copies at these stores now. Bucks, the Collingwood champion with the exquisite skills.
Firstly, what a kick or two from there.
Bucks, the man with the booming kick.
Lovely looking kick by Buckley for the Flyers.
Bucks, the captain of the most famous team in the land. This is the story you've been waiting for, the inner thoughts of Nathan Buckley, the man behind the decorated Collingwood star. Bucks, the Nathan Buckley story, joins Robert Harvey, John Worsfold and Mark Bickley in the AFL Champion Series from Australian Football Video. Get your copies at these stores now.
1998 Brownlow medal winner is Robert Harvey from the St Kilda Football.
He is the most decorated man in football today, St Kilda's prolific club champion, a back-to-back winner of the Brownlow medal, and at state level simply the best. Halves is an AFL champion, and this is his story. The Saint with the big heart and superb skills. Robert Harvey, the story so far, is out on video now, along with Worsfold on Worsfold and Bix. The AFL Champion Series. Get your copies at these stores now.
It's going to go.
The record they said would never fall. It did, and how. Plugger 1300 is the story of the man behind the most famous goal-kicking feat in history by the man himself, Tony Lockett. From shy St Kilda player into the most potent forward in 102 years of league footy. Plugger 1300. The story, the highlights, the goals. It's all here in this special expanded video version presented by Jason Dunstall. Get your copy at these stores now. The Fighting Fury from Tigerland. The men who made Richmond great. From Captain Blood Jack Dyer right through until today. Hart, Sheedy, Burke, Bartlett at their very best. The Premiership triumphs. The biggest stories.
I'd like to be a success at Richmond.
The controversies.
One of the nastiest scenes I've seen in football for years.
Richmond's heroes tell the story of this footballing dynasty. The great Tigers take centre stage. This is the video that every Tiger supporter must have. Fighting Fury. More than 2 unforgettable hours. Get your copy now.
In May 1999, Hawthorn gathered its great players of the late 80s to a reunion dinner at the showroom of the Crown Casino in Melbourne. They were there to relive memories of a record-breaking win over Melbourne in the 1988 Grand Final and of a gut-wrenching and heart-stopping win over Geelong a year later. This is the story of the 1989 win, codenamed Operation Tackle.
We are the mighty, mighty Hawks.
The story of a win that came at a cost and against the odds, told by the men who took Hawthorn to back-to-back premierships for the first time.
This is the 1989 VFL Grand Final.
On stage, Alan Jeans and his men could sit back and laugh now, 10 years on.
A lot of people don't know, really, that's what they said before about a few injured players. So I actually split the webbing on my left hand and got 7 stitches in my hand after the game. And if it had been a blood rule in those days, I would have been off. So we'd have been playing with 17 men. So I was very fortunate those days. And I remember the last quarter I went for a mark, but I went for one hand for the mark. It looked yes on TV, but that's the reason why, okay?
It was a grand final campaign that had been meticulously planned by Coach Jeans and his brains trust.
Knowing that Geelong was such an offensive side, I believe we had to break their game down by fierce tackling, so we called it Operation Tackle, and just to emphasise that word tackle, and this is how we prepared the players on that particular game.
Let's have a look at this team of champions, and a champion team at that.
As the Hawthorn players ran out onto the MCG that day in front of 94,000 people, they had the vision of their mission implanted in their minds. The video seen on Thursday night at Glenferrie and again in the bowels of the MCG that day was simple and understated. Pay the price. Make up for the failures of 1984 and 87.
We believed to win the game that we just had to break them down, and we knew if we got around about 40 tackles in the game that we'd have every chance of breaking their game down and winning the game. So that was where the focus was placed on.
Dermot Brereton, the man who could turn a game, had come in for special attention from his coach pre-game.
I told Brian Coleman, our chairman of selectors, before the game, I'm going to sool into him today, not knowing what was going to happen when he ran out onto the ground. And he responded in the right way when he did cop one, and he got up, and he was just an inspiration to us all.
The ultimate prize. Capacity crowd. The grand final. Burke and Dia. Down by Burke. This is Buse. The second opportunity for Buse. Down towards the half-forward line. Ablett's in front.
Very interesting, Dennis, at that first bounce, because Yates came off the wing and went straight for Dermot Brereton. And Dermot's down on his knees, as you can see.
Gary Ablett will go very close from here, from about 52 metres. Long, probing kick. It's home.
Now, this is reminiscent of the final Dermot Brereton down. I mentioned how Yates came through the centre, didn't have eyes for the ball, just went straight at Brereton and has put him down. A bad miss for Hawthorn, because he's the one who can really get them going. Now, watch this on replay. You see Yates, there he is, coming off the wing there. He only had eyes for Brereton, then goes over and bumps him again, but obviously he's done his ribs.
It was premeditated, was it? You and Malcolm Blight, you put your heads together and said, well, all right, let's fix Dermot up first bounce.
It was a plan. Yeah, that was it.
Well, tell us, how did you go through it? The week before a grand final, how did you actually plan out what you were going to do?
Well, it actually started probably in round, was it 6, didn't it?
6, yeah.
Princess Park, and I had a very sore testicle for about 4 or 5 weeks.
That was an accident, though.
It was always going to be on. And of course, that's when a man like Brereton is most vulnerable. And he's running with eyes on somebody else who's suddenly open.
And I saw Dermot after he was hit. He was white, physically white with pain. And for him not to go off, he refused to go off, and he refused to surrender.
Even though this was their bang, happened like that, saw him there 1 metre away, and we're both travelling at a reasonable speed. So it's less than a second from the time I've seen him to there. No time to evade, just arm in. And saw him happening, and he looked like a human flesh ball just coming at me. All I could see was the point of the shoulder. It got me in there. Lucky it kept my head fairly clear, rattled me, but just got me on the torso. The diagnosis was that I had through the impact, a tear in my kidneys, which was why I was passing blood, a couple of broken ribs. And basically they said the impact, because I took it from about there to there, as I said, the head was fairly clear. They said it was like getting hit by a small car at that speed, and basically your intestines, your inside, goes into spasm as a reaction to try and care for itself. It just spasms, and it just throws out anything that's not held down, so to speak, in there, and out she went.
Then the message came back to us, the doctor wanted to take him off the ground. The second message came back to me that Brereton wouldn't come off the ground, so I just said, well, leave him there. I suppose mainly because I gave him such a serve before the game, and I said, just push him down in the forward pocket. Now he went down there, he's given another opportunity, he just responded in a way, and as I said before, he was just an inspiration to us all.
Dermot Brereton. Interesting. Schultz hasn't gone back. Hocking now. Standing with the Hawthorn champion. So we're back in the middle. Good bounce too. Burke wins it down. Right of the congestion. Domenico falls on top of it. Slaps it out. Burke scrambles it forward. Kennedy the opportunity. Sweeping hand pass over the top. Sends Pritchard away. Down towards full forward. Brereton a test here. He's taken the mark. What a courageous mark.
And it's on centre wing.
Well, that was a fitness test for Dermot Brereton. He went back and he took it. And this is happening, as you can see.
And this is going to be the order of the day. I thought it might have started earlier than now, but what a great mark you called it, Dennis.
Dermot Brereton, as always, relishing being in the thick of things. Down in the first 15 seconds of the game. A chance to kick Hawthorn's second goal from 25 metres out. He's put it through.
You've just seen him cut down and basically taken out, and then he stands back up, takes a mark and kicks a goal. There's not much more you could ask for to sort of inspire your teammates.
Well, two of those players that figured in that, Bruns and Stephen Hocking, are out there today.
The kick by Darcy towards centre wing. The high flyer from behind is Deer, and he takes a good mark. The short right foot chip into the centre, and the mark is taken by Kennedy. He's looking to play on, forced to kick with the left foot into the pocket. He's down as he kicks it, and the free kick downfield will be taken by Curran, well within scoring distance.
Well, actually, that was a stupid kick on that occasion by Gary Hocking. It was a stupid kick. Geelong have got a man up. They're a little bit loose at this stage.
And a little excited too, the Cats. This was the doubt. So Curran, difficult angle, well within scoring distance. Magnificent kick by Curran, Hawthorn's third.
Chance for Hocking. This is Anderson over the ball. Still he goes back to Hocking, gets the hand pass away. Bairstow from half forward, long down towards full forward. Brownless is there, off his hands. Collins dragged off it. Brownless an opportunity, rides one bump. Claimed by McGuinness. Ablett put down. Ayres pressed into him. Platten gets the hand pass away. Ball out towards half back. And we'll have a ball up.
Mark Yates will have to tighten up. He's on the half-forward flank, but John Kennedy again initiated that attack into the forward line for Hawthorn.
Darcy to the members' side. Dippy Domenico can't mark. Recovers quickly. Gets his kick away. The ball runs free at centre half forward. Condon gathers. The hand pass. Whitman into Anderson. He goes for goal and pops it through.
I broke into play a few games the previous year and was an emergency actually in 88 as well. But to get a chance to play with the players at the calibre of the team in 89 was just fantastic for me. And there were a lot of young guys at Hawthorn through that period who, you know, some didn't quite make it. Some quality players who didn't play a lot of games, such was the quality of the players down there. I was lucky enough to get a chance and took it, and it's obviously my great achievement in footy.
The free kick will be taken by Yates, about 60 metres from goal. The short pass is on. It's okay, Ablett. They look for him a lot, don't they, John?
He's incredibly quick over the first couple of yards. He laid a tackle in the forward pocket earlier when the ball was there. It was just his sheer speed that got him. Again, look at the break he's got on McGuinness.
I didn't know exactly where he was going to play, and as I instructed my players, basically man on man, and just see how they settle, and then if he does get loose, Ablett, then we'll make the alteration. But I didn't want to nominate any particular player because I didn't know if he was going to start on the wing again or where he was going to start, and he did start on the half-forward flank.
I just remember running out onto the ground thinking, gee, I've really got to be on the ball today. And in the end, when he started kicking a couple, I thought I was in trouble.
Wing area, in front, Burke can't mark. Dippy Domenico can't get the ball out. Finally finishes up with Platten. Platten with time to kick the ball long towards full forward. The marking contest. Hocking can't take it. Curran, snapshot, hooks it across his body. Another goal to Hawthorn.
Well, whether you think the ball's running for Hawthorn, it's a debatable point because when a tap comes out of a pack, as it did on centre wing there was Hawthorn players and they seem to be running free. Schulz was down there.
Boundary throw in. Hawthorn looking for back-to-back premierships. They've not done that before. Brereton wins it down. Views has got it. And no side has come from as low as 9th to win a VFL premiership. Condon on the other side. Geelong are trying to do that. Across it comes. Up in front, Dippy Domenico couldn't hang on. Knocked away by Bruns. Couch has got it now. In trouble. The traffic is heavy. Couch hits the deck. Picked up by Dippy Domenico. Down towards full forward. Knocked away by Darcy. We've got a whistle. And it will be a free kick, I think, Hawthorn's way.
Against Gary Hocking once again.
Why wasn't the kick taken where the ball landed? He kicks the ball, then he's down. That must be a kick down to where the ball lands, surely.
There was a couple of puzzling decisions already made by these umpires, Ian, and that's another one.
Well, the umpire didn't deem it late.
I think it would have been a certain goal, whereas here it's a little bit doubtful.
Dippy Domenico from 55 metres out. Good looking kick. That's a goal.
Well, Robert
I remember the speech that Alan Jean spoke or said to the players on the Thursday night. I know if he made this up or not, but it got me going for a couple of days, was the fact that as he's speaking to the players in the Hawthorn room, he said Malcolm Blight made a speech at a sportsman's night a couple of weeks beforehand and said he reckons he can win the grand final because there's a couple of weak links in the Hawthorn side, and one was Michael Tucker and one was Robert Di Domenico. Now, when he said that, I thought there's no way known if I get a chance to play. I'm coming off the ground. All I want to do is win back-to-back premierships.
Woods half forward with the kick, intended for Ablett. Up he comes, he crashes into Dippy Domenico. That hurt. Dippy Domenico's got the free kick, he earned it.
Again, courage shown by Dippy Domenico.
Chip pass, Condon wants to play on, that's ambitious. Claimed by Bruns, hand passes, gains about 25 metres. Buse couldn't control it, Pritchard goes in. Hawthorn free kick off the ball, Platten is down. Geelong very untidy at the present time.
Well, if these tactics are to pay off, they'll need to be pretty close at three-quarter time.
Platten kicks inside 50. Darcy the leaper, fisting away. It comes down to Hocking. Very tentative Hocking. Dunstall, sweeping hand pass. Goal coming up. 1 of 2. Buckenara from 10 metres out.
Well, Hawthorn are just so confident that when the ball is further up the ground, they really do back their teammate in to get the ball. They did on that occasion because they all ran away into the goal square, knowing that their teammate was going to get the ball. Now, that's arrogance. Maybe the fact that Hocking also fumbled on that occasion, a bad fumble. Look at the numbers Hawthorn have got forward.
They've been kind fumble.
Tremendous stuff by Hawthorn. 7-4 to 2 goals. No one really gets their hand of the ball. The ruckman. Opportunity now for the Cats to get clear of that centre bounce, and it's Couch.
And Couch very lucky to get on his feet. Ayres came at him again.
Takes the free kick and kicks it wide. Too far out there for Bruns. Anderson too tall, taps it to the advantage of himself, goes back and gathers well. Hand pass off to McGuinness. McGuinness screaming through half-back, kicks it in towards the centre. Another Hawthorn mark taken by Condon. Looking to play on, and the Cats arriving a little late. Condon, very creative player in the centre for Hawthorn. Kicks it out wide, but a leaping, high leaping mark taken by Lindner. And Bruce Lindner holds that up. He's called play on. Curran takes the ball, kicks the Hawks back into attack in the 10-metre square. Brereton, clean mark in the goal square.
What a great kick too by Curran.
Well, they don't stop, do they, Dennis? The whistle hadn't gone. Lindner goes to play on. Umpire calls play on, and away they go.
Well, who would have thought that this game would pan out the way it is? I thought it'd be a much closer contest.
Brereton from the edge of the square, directly in front. No problems.
I woke up in the morning, had breakfast, and I drove down to the footy, the MCG, and I woke up next morning in hospital, Vimy House on the Sunday. So, but I must admit, I didn't drink during the day on the Sunday. But I caught up with the boys on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Played by Bruns, hand passes, gains about 25 metres. Buse couldn't control it. Pritchard goes in. Hawthorn free kick off the ball. Platten is down.
Oh, yes, he was a great player, Johnny, and he copped one, and he just didn't know what day it was, and these things happen in a grand final, and as the game progressed and players were going down in numbers and the reports were coming back, and at half-time was a real casualty room at there, and you know, we were just asking the players to respond and just to try and keep going.
Yeah, well, that's what got us a bit of a lead. I mean, they obviously decided they had to play a physical game to beat us, and in the first quarter we really concentrated on the ball. We kicked as many goals as we could, and we built up a very good lead. And you know, whether you'd say it's a bad tactic, I don't know, because as time was running out at the end, they just about brought it back to all square. So the tactic, I guess, in a sense worked for them, but it may also have cost them the game.
So John Platten is in trouble for Hawthorn, but the Hawks have been winning the ball marvellously well out of the centre.
Start of the second term then. Hawthorn lead by 40 points. Dia wins it down. Tuck slung, taken by Runs, who hooks it down towards half forward for the Cats. It bounces in open territory. Storming up the ground is Ablett. McGuinness is after him. Ablett working it towards the boundary line. Slipped. Stoneham. He's got it now at 50. Barry Stoneham hooks it down towards full forward. It's bending back. This will be close. It bounces the wrong way. Brownless worked hard.
And there's Platten. Not too good at all.
Let's go down to Michael Roberts. Michael?
Yes, look, quarter time, Dermot Brereton assured everyone that he was fine, but Johnny Platten went there. He was tested for concussion and went down on one knee. They took him straight off, and as you can see, he's going straight up the race.
Going into the rooms, we've got a new ball. Foreign to the MCG, and away we go again. One down by Flanagan that time with the backhand. Hughes comes away. There's the time remaining. The Cats are looking better. Hughes goes long down towards the pocket. Ablett! Oh, what a mark!
Well, that's what we came to see, Dennis. This man is unbelievable.
Cleared by Hawthorn to Geelong in 1983. Will he come back to haunt them? Check side kick. Huh. Nonchalant. Gary Ablett. Back in the middle. Villa bidding them down towards half forward. That's Hawthorn. Schultz has got it. Well, almost. Still he battles after it. Picked up by Cameron. Scrambles a kick across the goal face, and Buckenara takes the mark.
There was some fumbling there by Geelong. They took their eyes off the ball. Can't handle the pressure. Schultz 1 and Cameron 2.
Why would the defender go that way, Don?
Pressure, Ian. Pressure.
Oh. You turn onto your left side and kick it to the boundary line when the pressure's on.
Well, you don't have time to think, do you?
Buckenara. From about 20 metres out directly in front. He won't miss. Through she goes.
Well, that's things you just cannot do in finals, and it's not a good sign as far as Geelong is concerned. To see their centre-half back Schultz fumble in the way he did.
Yes, the opposition certainly take advantage of those sort of mistakes. So Darcy kicks the ball to the outer side this time. Oh, Buckenara flies high, can't mark.
Being penalised.
Now opportunity for Morrissey. Curran swoops on the loose ball. Curran's kick across his body, up towards full forward. The high flyers. No one can mark the ball. Stephen Hocking gets it out the back to Buse. Great tackle by Dunstall. Terrific stuff by the Hawthorn forwards. Brereton will kick a goal. No mistake. Dermot Brereton kicks his third. The Hawks go marching on. It's a massacre at the MCG.
Well, it was a great tackle by Dunstall, but what arrogance, and maybe you could call it stupidity on Buse's part. Trying in a final to run around. This is not a home and away game. Now watch this. Look, thinks he's going to run around, but you can't do that in the final. And what a magic tackle by Dunstall. That was terrific stuff by the Hawthorn forward line.
Dermot Brereton, 3 goals. There's our scoreline. Cameron towards half forward for the Cats. Here's the only man there. Leads the Hawks towards their half forward line. Walkman bounce down there for Whitman. Couch leads back in the race. Gets around Morrissey. Not a good hand pass. Just gave it away. Well, almost. Buse got his second opportunity. Went off the ground. This is Tuck. Swings it out wide. Into the path of Kennedy. It bounces back over his head. That was bad luck. Cameron slips over. Inside to Lindner, though. Lindner dragged off the kick. As a result, it spills down towards half forward. Tuck, brilliantly done, not once but twice. Eventually lost it, though. Counts the hand pass out wide. Hamilton's got it. Left half forward. Ablett's in front. Strong mark. Not easy to mark. That ball was coming quickly.
They're hard marks to take, aren't they, Dennis? In front of your face like that.
Probably the toughest.
See this on replay. The ball out in front. They're hard to take.
Ablett. They desperately need a goal. Ablett, look at that. Straight through the middle.
He is a cool fellow, Ablett. I suppose that is the difference between champions and also-rans. You see his teammates in the ground, down the ground, and various other places on the ground, fumbling under pressure, but he is just so cool. That's his second shot for goal in this quarter, and he just did it so well. His first one was just confidence plus, and this too. He just got so much confidence in his ability.
I've never seen a player dominate a game like Ablett played, and I've never seen Geelong rise to such, or a team rise so far above, or to their potential and above their potential. And for the guys who are reduced to a lot of injured players, the guys who are right in the thick of it, to come away with a win on that game was a pretty impressive effort.
Gary Ablett's kicked 3 goals out of the Geelong score of 5. And Hawthorn 10-6, still lead very comfortably. The ball at centre-half forward, chipping in is Cameron. The kick up towards centre-half forward for Geelong. It goes through Gary Ayres. Tumbling away was Gary Ablett. Swooping on the ball. Now Hamilton kicks it across his body into the forward pocket. High over the top views of Collins, but he can't control it. And it goes out for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for Geelong.
It's a terrific effort by Hawthorn when you consider that Brereton's injured. Platten's also gone off.
Very good team, the Hawks, very disciplined. Flanagan now doing the ruck work against Deere. Ablett over the top. Snapshot by Gary Ablett. This is close. Oh, it is mercurial stuff.
I get the feeling momentum is starting to shift in this game.
Listen, this is where you need television. You cannot explain what that man does. That's a picture's worth 1,000.
If you're down there in a Geelong jumper, that must lift you, mustn't it?
Watch it, Ian. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, it's magic.
But it must lift the Geelong players.
Oh, let's hope it does.
There's Rob Hawke, our Prime Minister, interested spectator. Geelong certainly don't need a Hawthorn goal at this stage. The ball gets clear to Malacallis. The hand pass to Stephen Hocking. The Cats may have settled down a little bit. Hamilton pulled off the ball. Pritchard, strong was Malacallis. Umpire picks out a free kick. It's going Geelong's way. The advantage has been paid. Hamilton comes away with the ball. The left foot pass in towards the pocket. Brownless gathers well. Tries to crash his way through. Umpire calls play on, and Condon kicks Hawks. Up towards half forward. The ball a little bit too far there for Pritchard. And we'll have a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for Hawthorn.
And Hawthorn have made a change. Langford has gone to full back on Ablett.
I think when Chris went on to Gary, I thought that he did a very good job in so much as that he was winning the ball himself as well and gave us a lot of drive. So it was actually, I was pretty happy when I went off him. It is a team effort, of course. Chris, you had a go at him that day too. You actually said to Alan Jeans on Thursday you were actually a bit peeved that you didn't get the job first up.
It was 10 years ago, man. I can't remember that bit. But as Scotty said, when I went on to him, I think my approach to a lot of full forwards is, if you worry about what they're doing, you're probably going to be distracted from what you're doing. So just had a go at trying to be as attacking and work on the fact that he didn't have very good defensive skills, and if you worked him up the ground, he wouldn't kick so many goals. But he had a real day out, and I think in the second quarter he took the ball from the boundary throw in and snapped a goal. And he's just one of those guys. When he's on song, and he's that good. You're really never going to stop him. Just do the best you can. I think Scotty knows what it was like. It was a tough day, and ultimately it was, I guess the focus was just get the ball forward and do the team, focus on the team things. And it was, I think, 1989 was really epitomised the team effort. I thought it was an enormous team effort.
McGuinness out of the back pocket yet again. High kick, Members side. Big pack at the fall of the ball. Buse went over the top, couldn't hang on. We'll have a ball up.
Be on the ground, Buse.
There's a player there, 32 for Geelong, who's been a tremendous player for them in their previous 3 finals. And he's been very, very quiet. Gary Hocking.
Lacking around the packs. Tuck is doing a fine job on Bairstow. Bairstow just 5 possessions so far. There he is again. Bairstow in the picture, but Tuck does nicely. Gets it across, just paddling it towards Ayres, who hooks it around the boundary. From behind, Bosch should have punched.
Why didn't he punch?
Hold on. Morrissey's got the ball. The defensive side at centre wing. Kicks it wide. Pritchard runs onto it. That could prove costly. Pritchard from half forward pulls it back. What a superb kick. Dunster. the question again, Don Scott. Why didn't he punch?
Yes, there's simple mistakes that Geelong are making in the back half of the ground, aren't they, that are costing
We
them.
mentioned that one there, but also this was a good move here because Darcy went to where the ball was. Dunstall did.
Dunstall sneaks it through for a goal.
To be totally truthful, it was only like until half time that I said, geez, Platts hasn't had any influence on the game. They said, well, he's not on. So what's the matter? And he'd gone off. I didn't see that happen. And in that type of game, you just become so inward. You still play team footy, but the focus is just very inward on yourself to get by. And where I was coming from at that stage, I had to really concentrate in that inward sense to get by. So I wasn't really aware of what was happening to the rest of my teammates. I was watching jumpers, you watch play, and you hope to put yourself on the end of the chain or be a part of the chain. But as for looking around thinking, he looks a bit rough, you just don't give that a thought.
So it's time on in the second quarter, and the Hawks go forward again through Condon. Nearly the mark there to catch Malakalis. Morrison swoops on the ball. A hand pass over the top. Whitman, can he break the tackle? The left foot snap by Whitman. Another goal to Hawthorn.
Well, we asked the question, or begged the question earlier, why didn't Boz punch the ball from behind? Well, you're going to ask the question again. Why did Malakalis try and mark from behind? If you're playing disciplined football, and Geelong have done it this year, he should have punched a little earlier than that, got the ball forward, but went Hawthorn's way again.
I think Bairstow's got good vision like Don Scott. Saw him from a long way off. There's the time remaining till half-time. Flanagan wins it down. Boss in trouble there. Hocking on all fours. Couch. Very solidly. Here's the man who applied the tackle. Down went Anderson off the ball. Pritchard meantime boots them forward. A word to Cameron, who's been reported for putting Anderson down.
Two umpires, actually.
Happened off the ball, about 5 metres away from the action.
Well, a lot of that has been going on today, Dennis. The umpire's pinged one or two, but he hasn't pinged enough of them. And finally, someone's reported.
Little sniping. There's Anderson. 12-8 to 7-2. 4 of those 7 goals for Geelong have come from the boot of their champ, Gary Ablett. Hawthorn prevailing. Anderson, a long kick. They contest about 30 metres out. Ledner over the top has paid the mark.
It's not good football. Okay, he took the mark, but behind he should have punched the ball.
He's in the back pocket.
Look at the way Hawthorn take the mark.
Ledner. Oh, they sold Boss into deep trouble. Boss, the hurried kick towards centre wing. Flanagan goes up, sandwiched between 2 Hawks. Waiting behind Couch, great tackle. Collins should have been rewarded, wasn't. It spills to Mew. Puts it back around the boundary line. Over the top. Hughes, I think, was out of bounds. Juggled across. The boundary umpire says that was a mark, surprisingly. Hughes in the shadows of the stand, through centre. Ledner taking marks all around the ground. He's had a good turn.
Lindner is on centre wing member side. Plays on now. Kicks it towards centre half forward. The Hawthorn players in front of Gary Ablett. 2-on-1. McGuinness and Brownless. The umpire will come in and ball it up. Just inside 50 metres. And Geelong within scoring distance. Badly need a goal just before half time. There's a minute left in this first half of the 1989 Grand Final. Tuck on all fours. Gary Hocking can't get through. Couch gathers well. Good tackle, Condon. Pritchard with skill. Gets out. Goes after it. Takes one bounce with pace. Kicks Hawthorn up towards full forward. Dunstall. A million miles away you can see Dunstall going to take that mark. Tremendous at keeping his footing and very strong.
And what a good kick by Pritchard. Set up by a bounce down. Tucker got it to Pritchard and a magnificent kick by the little rover. Dunstall.
Goal number 3. No, he hooks the kick. Goal umpire runs right across and it's through for a behind. Not a very good kick there by Jason Dunstall.
Tim Darcy
in trouble.
So Yates will kick it in. Fine job Michael Tuck is doing. Tagging Bairstow has had more possessions. And this term he set things up as Yates goes to the outer side. Flanagan up. Dia leads back in the race, falls over. Anderson close to the boundary line, played it onto the leg of Hocking, looks inquiringly at the boundary umpire, Alderno Avail, half-time siren. And there's our scoreline. The Hawks 12-9, 81, Geelong 7-2, 44.
So Jeansy's belief was that he had to find some way of getting that tried and true formula message across to the players, but he had to verbally package it different each time. So the people would not just sit there and go, blah, 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 same deal. They'd go, I'm interested. And they'd tune in and get motivated by it. Same message, you know, different skin on it. And he certainly put a different skin on this one, and it was quite motivating just the way he went. But I was quite motivated too, knowing where he'd come from with the aneurysm the year before. The way he was really forcefully putting it across, I thought, geez, this bloke's in danger himself.
You're under such pressure. I don't know what makes you think of these things at the time, but it's always, you're just trying to get your point across, and you know, and there's just no good roaring and shouting. I mean, I suppose the story was appropriate for that position, and it must have affected the players because they all remember it, and most players don't remember what the coach says. You know, yeah, they only can remember one or two things, and sometimes that's why you got to put it in story form. And all I can say is, pleased the boys did respond in the right way, and they did pay the price, and we got the reward.
It was about being where we were at half time. We'd been there a couple of years before in '87, and physically, emotionally, and just to the game, we didn't pay the right price to get the ultimate goal, you know, and we regretted it. And Jeansy likened it just to a young child who saves up his money through all the hard work, you know, doing odd jobs around. He goes to buy himself a pair of shoes, he said, and you can buy the cheap ones and put a bit in your pocket, the remainder. But the shoes will give out before the very good pair. And if he had have paid the price, worked a little bit longer extra hours to get a little bit more in the pocket to get the absolute good pair, his pride would go up, his social standing would go up, and reflection through time would always be as strong, you know, of what he actually did for himself. So we didn't want to say, well, we got there, we didn't quite get there. So we had to pay the price at the time when it was on offer.
In fact, not time. The start of the second half, 12-9 is 7-2. Can the Cats come back? We're about to find out. Dipia Domenico, tackled by Hocking, manages the kick. It went about 10 metres. Off the ground, eventually forward by Condon towards half forward. Ball free. Lidner played pretty well this afternoon. Comes away from half back and boots towards half forward. This is Ayres quickly onto the boot, back towards midfield. Geelong have got the numbers. Hocking in deep trouble. Great tackle by Tuck. Ball was jarred free off the ground by Ayres. It comes out towards the wing. At close quarters, Morrissey got it across towards Ayres. Well done by Boss. He beat two of them. Kicks it about 25 metres. Tuck over the top, fisting. Malik Ellis was pushed in the back, and he'll get the free kick on centre wing.
It was a chance for our own immortality, if you like. Peter Russo and Richard Loveridge spoke about 83, 86 sides, but the 89 side was to be Hawthorn's first back-to-back and only back-to-back premiership. So, yeah, it obviously rates as my fondest football memory.
It's to the advantage of the Cats because a player out here on his own is Bairstow. Hasn't had many touches, but this could be important. Bairstow's kick towards half forward. Ablett runs onto the ball and crashes into Collins. Langford's there, and Ablett gives away the free kick to Andrew Collins. A little unfortunate for the Cats.
Collins out of the back pocket. Centering kick. Oh, well done by Brownless.
Going back, Dennis.
It's coming back. Well, that's bad luck for the Cats. Brownless showed a lot of courage, running with the flight of the ball.
And also a lot of anticipation, but what he has done was jump onto Pritchard's foot, and again, Pritchard not too good.
Meantime, plenty happening in this term so far. Collins towards centre wing. The target is Brereton. Hocking fisting away. Slapped out of bounds by Bairstow. So we've got a throw in. Mark Bairstow. Only 6 possessions so far this afternoon. 5 kicks, 1 hand pass. 82 plays 46. Just under 20 minutes remaining in this third term. Geelong need to move and move quickly. This is Gary Hocking, freed by the tribunal to play in this game earlier in the week. In fact, it never got that far. And Ablett on the end of that kick.
He is a magnificent mark of the ball, especially when it's high in the air as it was then. Just look at this man's balance.
Gary Ablett. He's kicked 4 so far. Marvellous lone hand on the forward line. Kicks, and the margin is back to 30 points.
Well, he hasn't blotted his copybook. That's his 5th goal, Gary Ablett. And he is a very, very good player, Gary Ablett. He's come up in this final. You see a lot of players of his calibre, Gary Ablett, who play well in home and away games, yet when the pressure is applied, they go missing in a final. But he has not gone missing today. It hasn't been an easy game. As I mentioned, he was collected by Ayres earlier, has recovered and playing very, very well.
One senses something's brewing at the MCG. There's the time remaining. Short to Hamilton from Darcy. Hamilton with time and space. Bounces once. Kicks towards centre wing. Hocking from behind. A hand on the back of Kennedy, not seen. Hocking was held without it. No free kick. Gathered by Morrissey. Great. Popped one from Dippy and Domenico, who will be reported, I fancy.
He's reported.
I've never seen the 89
Really?
final. I've never seen any of the finals I've actually played in with these guys. It is a memory. This is true. This is the serious side of me, okay? But I knew that, you know, to play back-to-back premierships was so important to us all because we had failed in 84, we had failed in 85, we won 86, I obviously failed in 87, and of course we won that great game in 88, and have Alan back was terrific.
I think you see some cases there where he's taking on 2 or 3 of them at a time, and Dipper just, he loved it. The tougher it was, the more he loved it, and you know, he copped as good as he got. He gave plenty out, but he also copped plenty, and he certainly copped a big one later on in that game when he had his the lung punctured by the clash with Ablett.
He got some punishment, didn't he? Yeah. And I must say too, those boys, they did the right thing for the Cats, the way they went about it. A real statement. You know, if that kind of thing happens in today's footy, you get fined, but it almost shows a real grit and determination that nothing is going to stop a team winning.
I just read with interest this morning in the Herald Sun an article written by one of the journos there, and Dipper was quoted as saying that when he was hit by Ablett, he felt himself get bigger and explode, and he felt that he was got much larger. I just want to know is he's got a punctured lung at the moment. I have actually done.
Tough, spiteful at times game of football. D along towards half forward from behind. Brereton, strong mark. Too far out to score. Dunstall goes on a lead to the pocket. That's the direction the kick takes. Hawthorn player down off the ball. Missed down there in the pocket. Anderson scrambles towards goal. What a massive goal.
And that was a magnificent goal, but then what about behind play? Jamie Morrissey not too good. He's got his hands down on his knees. And this is, as Dennis called earlier, a spiteful game because you're not safe if you're near or off the ball because you'll still get collected. But this is a good play here by Brereton. Anderson running onto it. Fortunate. One step, bang for goal. Hawthorn's 13th.
29 points, the Hawks lead. Bairstow, a crude tackle. Advantage rule paid. The play goes on. It finishes with Condon. Condon, short pass into the pocket. 2 Hawthorn players racing for the ball, Curran and Dunstall, but the bounce does not favour either one. So we'll have a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for Hawthorn. Very important 10 minutes now, or 12 minutes for Geelong. They must try and bridge that gap before 3/4 time. Up over the top, Morrissey. Brereton kicks across his body. Now a chance for Curran. Curran's kick. Oh, magnificent stuff.
Well, it all seems to be going Hawthorn's way. The ball bounced off a couple of hands before it finished up in Curran's. And he really didn't have a deliberate shot for goal. He put the ball on high, hoping. There was Morrissey over the back. A good smother there by Geelong. And a high ball from Curran. And things going Hawthorn's way.
Great kick by Curran. That's his 3rd goal. And the Hawks go marching on.
Back in the middle then. Buckenara an opportunity. Gets the hand pass away. Pritchard. You get the feeling they've ridden out another storm. Pritchard, his second bounce just outside 50. Goes long towards full forward. He's off target this time. And through it goes for a minor score. Well, just before half-time, Geelong were creeping back in at about the 20-minute mark. Hawthorn suddenly a barrage of goals. And again, Geelong just gaining momentum, and suddenly they've been stopped in their tracks by Hawthorn. A couple of wonderful goals. Anderson and Curran. Darcy goes to the outer side ever so slightly. Through the hands of Anderson. Lindner's away. Out wide to Bairstow. Bairstow through the centre square. Pinpoint accuracy. Hits Brownless on the chest. Brownless will kick from about 55 metres out. And distance, I'd say, might be a problem. He can kick it a long way. And this one's no exception. That's a magnificent goal.
Usually forwards are dangerous inside 50 metres. But when you've got Gary Ablett and Bill Brownless outside 50 metres, they are dangerous. Now, what a magnificent kick. I didn't think he quite got onto it. He slipped on impact, but it's still a magnificent kick for goal by the full forward.
2 goals to Bill Brownless up on that Geelong forward line. 5 goals to Gary Ablett. 30 points Hawthorn's lead, and we've got 10.5 minutes left in this third quarter. But it just appears as though they play catch-up football. The ball at centre-half back. Now Yates can't break away. Bruns tries to tap it to the advantage of his side. Couch can't get clear. Buckenara the tackler. The ball runs free. Collins gathers well. Kicks it wide towards the wing. Buse drops what he should have taken. Chance now for Flanagan, and he busses his way out. But Ayres is there to tidy up for Hawthorn. Ayres kick high in towards the forward pocket, and Dunstall takes the mark as Darcy.
That'll be 50, should be 50 metres.
Well, you've picked it, Don. That'll put the Geelong defender right on the goal line. And another crucial error.
That was bad luck for Flanagan on the outer side wing. He hand passed to a name, didn't he? He was called.
But then again, it was also a bad mistake by Andrew Buse, again out on that edge of the square.
So Dunstall, who has kicked 2, surely will kick his third, and he does so.
As soon as Geelong mount a challenge, it's always answered by Hawthorn, and Hawthorn are retaining their composure. Ayres drifting well up from the back line, sent the high ball, and it had to be a 50-metre penalty against Darcy. If anything, Flanagan should have gone straight down the ground with that hand pass. And Dunstall, not a problem. His third goal. He kicked 6 goals last time he played. That was against Essendon. In actual fact, today he's kicked 3 goals, 3. And that's his yearly total to 137.
Of course, 7 goals in last year's grand final, a winning effort against Melbourne. 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Hawthorn out to a handy lead yet again. 102 to 66. Rucks go at it. Flanagan wins it down, and again. Kennedy put down by Hamilton. Malakielis has got the run of it. Sweeping hand pass to accommodate this man Cameron. He runs to 45. He goes long. It's home.
Well, last year David Cameron was one of those sneaky forward pockets, and this year he's found it a little bit hard getting into this side. This is his 8th game for the season, and he played mainly as that forward pocket, but this year he's been used as a wingman as he was last week. Started half back today, and now he looks as if he's on the half forward flank. That's as his first goal.
So 30 points now. Hawthorn lead by. Still a scramble for possession in that centre circle area. Boss throwing himself on the football as Mark Boss. Dippy Domenico appealing for a free kick. Umpire will bounce once again.
Hawthorn are far quicker into that centre bounce down from the outside of the square than what Geelong are. Geelong are trotting in, Hawthorn are sprinting in.
Yes, the numbers are there. When the umpire bounces the ball, a big thump by Deer. Oh, the bounce certainly favours Buckenara. It comes out the back to Bairstow. Bairstow's kick across his body. Dippy Domenico too tall for Bruns, and he takes the mark. He plays on quickly, kicks it in towards Dunstall. At the back, it's a punch away. Morrissey somehow finds some space, gets his foot to the ball, and goals.
Like the parting of the Red Sea.
And what unfortunate luck there, because the Geelong players did the right thing. You can see Tim Darcy in all sorts of trouble. And it was Mark Yates backing back. They were doing the right thing, Geelong. It takes a lot of courage to do what Yates did, but luck just did not go that way because Morrissey was the one sweeping onto the ball. Look at Yates backing into the pack. The pack fly, he's caught underneath. And the reason why it opened up is the fact that Geelong had 2 defenders down on the ground.
Back in the middle, Flanagan. Ball loose in that centre square. Scott's got the run of it. Great use of the body by Collins. He should get a free kick. He was held without it. The poise of Hawthorn showing now. Collins just carries centre with the kick, and the mark is taken by Di Domenico. Forward of left centre wing. Bruns has had a very quiet day. Just 5 kicks, no hand passes. He didn't make a hand pass last weekend. Di Domenico has shed his boot. Still gets it across to Mew. Mew under no pressure, wobbles it down to about 30 metres out from goal, and Curran has taken the mark down there.
It was a good mark, Dennis. That ball was swinging in the breeze, and it was a terrific mark by
I don't think that Mark Yates is too good. They're going to make a change here, Geelong. Stoneham's going down to the back line. Actually, it's Darcy. Darcy's going to come off. And Stoneham to full back.
Ayres is coming off too.
And Ayres also going off for Hawthorn. Manigan on. And then Schultz will come on for Geelong.
Here's Curran kicking at his 4th goal. It's a wayward kick. This is by quite a margin.
Yes, not enough steps there by Peter Curran. I'm sure if he had a good look at the replay of that, he'd be very critical of himself. As Schultz comes onto the ground, Gary Ayres there on the interchange bench for Hawthorn. The kick in goes to the outer side. The good mark taken by Lindner. Gets the hand pass off to Couch. Couch coming into the play a little bit. The left foot kick by Couch towards half forward. Ablett can't mark. It's 2-on-1. Mew gets back quickly. Ablett attempts the tackle, but Mew's kick across his body back towards centre half forward. Great interception by Curran. He can't break away. Malakalis' handball is smothered. Hughes flips it back, but it's Kennedy who swoops on the loose ball. Buckenari to an open goal. Is this another Hawthorn goal? Yes, sirree.
The reason we won the game is because of the great pressure that the players put on, and I was only a young player then, and I wasn't as good at it, anywhere near as good at it as some of the others that we see on the tape. I mean, they're the guys that you've really got to pat on the back, because when it was going down to the wire at the end, they were fantastic value.
Comes over the top, couldn't hang on. And this is young Madigan coming away from half-back. A surprise selection this week towards half-forward. Boss thumps it forward. Lindner, probably Geelong's best player, in traffic. Hand pass comes to Buse. Buse gets around Lindner. Unloads into the forward line yet again. Kennedy in front. Ablett over the top. Oh, what a mark.
He is an amazing player, Gary Ablett. What an amazing mark. And there's Gary Ayres. Now, he's not too good if he's going up into the change rooms. John Platten is already there. So Hawthorn might be a case of the walking wounded. And here's Ablett, number 5. A number made famous by Polly Farmer at Geelong. It's worn by distinction by this man.
A record riding on this kick. Ablett shooting at his 6th. Most goals in a final series. He puts it through.
Yes, I suppose he and Darren Flanagan are the only shining lights.
Boundary throw in, forward of centre wing for the Cats. And a free kick in front to Flanagan, who's tried very hard for them this afternoon.
Actually doing very, very well since coming on a quarter time.
Kicks for open space. Tuck goes back with courage and takes the mark. Michael Tuck, 4th season as captain, swings it out wide. Mark is taken on the outer side by Langford. Closing him down is Ablett belatedly. 17-13 to 12-6. Just over 3 minutes remaining. 3rd quarter. Kick towards half forward. Over the top, Couch fists away. Opportunity forward for Cameron. He falls over. Madigan did well. Got it across to Condon. To Anderson. Anderson 35 metres out and closing. Is he accurate? Yes, he is.
Well, that's Anderson's 3rd goal. And it was set up by the youngster who came on, replacing the injured Gary Ayres. He actually made a lead initially, Madigan, who was ignored. And then in the pack, he went back, got the quick handball. And here it is, following up, quick handball out. Condon chipping it across to Anderson. No pressure as Anderson goes in for his 3rd.
The fact that I got a game is the only time I actually agreed with the tribunal, because Robbie obviously was suspended the week before. And I went home having the greatest week of my life, training for a grand final, and Osdock Oval, as it's now known, it was chock-a-block, and it was the biggest crowd that I've ever trained in front of. And went home, listened on the radio, just wonder who will find out. And when my name got read out, I thought, oh Christ, you know. And from then on, it was a bit of a blur. I do remember a lot of the game, obviously, because I sat there and watched it. But it was just a terrific experience for me, having grown up and barracked for Hawthorn, and you know, idolising the players that I eventually played with, and you know, to actually have signed with the club was a really big experience for me, and then to play with them was another great experience, and to play a grand final is something I'll never forget.
Chris Mew, the Hawthorn centre halfback, Langford at fullback, Ayres off the ground. Three very important players in the Hawthorn defence. Flanagan doing the ruck work. Deere, the ball comes down to Hamilton. Hamilton's left foot kick. It may even bounce through for a goal. It certainly is a goal. Right on the siren, Hamilton kicks Geelong's 13th goal, and at three-quarter time, Hawthorn lead 18-13, 121. Geelong 13-7, 85.
He was a great player for me anyway, and the Hawthorn Football Club during that period of time. He was a bit slow starting when I first got there, but once he established himself, he became a wonderful player. But he used to play with such enthusiasm, and he used to run out at three-quarter time, and of course Dipper has got a little bit of an ego, if you don't know, but he has got a bit of an ego, and I used to always try to pull him back into gear by saying, you got me into trouble with the media on Saturday. They wanted to know why I took my best player off at three-quarter time, because he used to run out of steam at three-quarter time. And in the grand final, he was the first bloke I walked to at three-quarter time, and the pressure was really on, and they were coming at us, and I walked straight up to him and I said, don't get loser's limp on me today, not realising that he had sustained such a serious injury.
At three-quarter time, Yabby kept yelling at him and screaming at him, keep running, Dipper, keep running. I've never seen anyone die of exhaustion out here yet. He went pretty close, the big fella, though. He was fantastic.
I remember chatting to Condo at three-quarter time. I cannot remember one word Alan Jean said at three-quarter time. It was just a full recovery stage, and Jeansy had myself and Anthony Condon on the ball, and I said, Condo, do you want to start on the ball? He said, no, I'm absolutely stuffed. And I said, so am I. And he goes, well, you go. And we shared the on-ball duties in the last quarter, and we managed to get over the line.
Set for the final term of the grand final. Hawthorn 18-13, Geelong 13-7. Everything to play for. Back-to-back pennants beckon for the Hawks as Deere gets it down. Buckenara kicks towards half-forward. Fisted away down there by Hocking. Leading in the race his brother. That was Steve down to Gary. Gary's over the ball. Shovels it out. We've got a whistle and the ball up.
What Geelong are doing are running David Cameron off the back end of the square, leaving Greg Madigan by himself in the Hawthorn forward back line.
Here's the bounce then. Bairstow, was he taken high? No free kick. Malachielis has got the run of it. Buckenara stood his ground brilliantly. Feeds Anderson, who goes down towards the pocket. Dunstall on the lead.
Too quick for Schulz.
So Dunstall will kick at goal from about 40 metres out. 3 so far this afternoon. Not an easy kick. If he gets this, the grand final should be all over. He's missed. He slides it across the face. Curran, the leaper, couldn't hang on. The ball spills out of bounds and will be thrown in. Tuck's got a problem. They're calling for Tate. Perhaps a dislocation. Boundary throw in. Curran, who's done well in that area, flicks it behind the pack. Whitman towards full forward. Dunstall couldn't hang on. This is Buse. He runs it out. Buse comes up towards half-back. Sweeping hand pass. Lindner in trouble. Gives it away. Taken by Kennedy. Fast rebound opportunity. Anderson. He runs to 40. He measures the kick and he misses to the right-hand side.
Well, the ball was pretty hot then when Lindner had it. He really didn't look around, and it was a bad hand pass. And there's Ayres and also Platten on the bench. They're the injured.
I think we only finished with 13 fit players. It was very difficult to juggle players in the end to try and cover some of their strengths, because they were getting on top of us in the last quarter. The ruck strength, Flanagan came on, played extremely well. I think Cameron was playing well, and Buse and these players were starting to get on top, and they were coming at us, and then it's very difficult to try to adjust your team to counter these things.
I had learned that the pressure just goes up a little bit in grand finals, doesn't it?
It's an understatement, Ian.
Boundary throw in, half forward flank for Hawthorn. Brereton takes it out of the air. Steve Hocking, Malacallis. Left foot kick by Malacallis is okay. On the end of it is Flanagan. He's wide of centre. If he could kick it further wide, he kicks it towards centre half forward. Bruns is at the back, looking for the bouncing ball. Ablett, outside 50 metres, flips it to Scott. Here's Bruns in the picture now. Into an open goal goes Bruns. And as he put it through, yes, it's all clear.
Well, Neville Bruns running in for his first goal. He was a good player last week. But then again, had he have missed that, he would have ruled the day, because Bill Brownless was by himself in the goal square. He'd drawn McGuinness, Bruns. Ablett just can't control it quickly. Good play by Scott, and here's Bruns running into the open goal. He drew McGuinness, could have flipped it over, but nonetheless he kicked his first.
Margin is back to 29 points. They will not lie down, as Flanagan, who's done superbly, got it down. Hughes couldn't control it. Morrissey got the kick away. Or was it Whitman? It was Whitman. Morrissey gets the hand pass to Pritchard, who goes in short. This is Buckenara, and Buckenara gets the quick reply.
4 goals, Gary Buckenara.
And that's confidence, the way they played that. What a cheeky little chip pass it was from Darren Pritchard. It barely covered 10 metres. And Buckenara had his back to goal. But that's the way Hawthorn play. They're just supremely confident. Watch this, a good hand pass. And the way that Pritchard got it across to Buckenara, confident football.
Hawthorn, one of the great sides of all time, so spare a thought for the Cats today. They've tried very, very hard. They stood them up as start. Since then, it's been very even. Bruns on the outer side, takes the mark. There's the time remaining. Bruns, only 9 possessions so far. Centering kick, Flanagan marks. Getting plenty of target practice at the moment, the Cats. There's a long way out.
He could kick this, Flanagan.
He is a good kick. He's been one of their better players today. He kicks from 52 metres. Oh, it's going long. It's a goal.
Yeah, I wish I could pick winners at the races like that.
Well, Darren Flanagan's had the better of Greg Deere. Now, Greg Deere had the better of Simon Madden because of his mobility last time he played. But in football, you're really only as good as your last game. And in a final, an ordinary player can really lift himself. And Flanagan has done that since coming off interchange bench, showing great mobility around the ground. But more importantly, he's getting hit-outs in the centre.
Geelong get the ball out of the centre again. It's up towards half forward. And a great mark, nearly taken by Madigan. Pushed off the ball, Kennedy. Stoneham gets it out to Malacallis. The short chip is effective. And the mark is taken by Gary Ablett.
And there was Stoneham there. He's the workhorse at centre half forward. He's had a very quiet day, Stoneham, by his standards that he's set this year. He's been an outstanding centre half forward, but it was him who got the ball out initially, and it's finished with Gary Ablett.
Curran's limping at the other end of the ground.
And Geelong look reasonably well, apart from Darcy. Question mark on him. Ablett goes for goal number 7, and he pings it.
Gary Ablett is one of those players. He's not overconfident, but to speak to Gary, I remember him as a youngster, a teenager, when he first came to Hawthorn. He wasn't blasé, but he was very, very confident fellow, and he's got a lot of confidence in his ability. There's not overconfidence, but the way he handles himself on the football field, and he knows what he is capable of doing, and he just does it so well.
A disturbance in the crowd. Back to 21 points now. Dia slaps it down towards half forward. Hughes does nicely. Hawthorn have players down with cramp now. Condon is down. Meantime, the ball on the forward line. What a magnificent mark by Langford. He had the judgment. It's all happening. That's half a streaker. There's Anderson. Out towards centre wing. The Hawks looking a little bit tired now. Over the top it comes. Pritchard. Have they got the poise to subdue one more challenge? at half forward, fisted away by Darcy. Boss has got it, scrambles it high. Couch will come. Fisted away by Condon there. Hughes did well. Couch confronted and runs away. No, great tackle. Whitman ran him down. Curran's got it. Kicks to about 20 metres out. Dunstall. Great use of the body. Has taken this mark. And maybe now they can quell this uprising.
Gee, they've made some mistakes, Geelong. Couch on that occasion then.
Yes, they're running into wrong positions, aren't they, Don?
They're just trying to do too much. I think it's a home and away game.
Dunstall has kicked 3. Make that 4.
Well, a lot of Hawthorn's goals have come through Geelong mistakes, and that one came through a Geelong mistake. Why they try and run around and get themselves out of trouble on a half-back line in a pressure game. You can only do the instinctive thing, but Geelong are not doing it. Perhaps their instinct is all wrong. But a great goal by Dunstall.
Yes, they've just had too many options up forward. Hawthorn, Curran has kicked, Peter Curran has kicked 3, Brereton has kicked 3, Dunstall 4, Buckenara 4 and Anderson 3. And they've really shared it around the Hawks. Of course, Jason Dunstall, the leading goal scorer in the competition this year. Couch takes it out, gets the hand pass to Bairstow. Here come the Cats again, up towards half forward. Nearly the gather by Ablett. The ball out the back to Collins, who tries to flip it out, and he gets it to Madigan. Madigan, fumbling was Mew. Scott. Opportunity for Whitman. Here's Ablett swooping on the football. Well tackled by the brother-in-law Tuck. The kick goes into the pocket. Hamilton close to the boundary line. Can he keep it in? He's one out. He flips it out the back. Close to the line again. Dippy Domenico gets the hand pass back. Collins clears for Hawthorn. Back in towards the centre. The mark is taken by Flanagan. Geelong still got their foot on the pedal. They're motoring home. Flanagan's kick to half forward. The mark is taken by Stoneham. And he's right on the 50-metre line. Can he kick the distance?
Well, at this stage of the game, I've got my doubts. Early in the game, I think he'd make the distance.
You're not much of a gambler, are you, Don?
Not at this stage, Ian.
Well, I'll have a go. I'll say he'll kick it. Barry Stoneham, a tremendous player. Been a little quiet. Centre half forward for the state side earlier in the season. Stoneham gets under it a little bit. The drop punt kick gets the distance and the accuracy. We've got 10.5 minutes left in this grand final.
Throw in. Curran behind the pack, taken by Boss. He's claimed. Down goes Curran. Tries to kick it forward. Cross it comes to Bairstow from Hocking. He's still running with the ball. Well played. Spills come across to Lindner. Lindner breaks away from half-back. His second bounce carries into centre wing. Well shepherded. Goes long down towards the pocket. Ablett is there. Almost the one-hander. Finds it on the ground. From 25 metres out, he's kicked it. His 8th goal.
Bairstow said that he thought they'd win the game, which I thought we would never lose the game. I thought personally the last bounce we might come a draw, and then I was worried about who's going to play next week. But basically I thought we'd never lose the game, but it was very, very exciting. But in the end result, we had 6 more scoring shots than what they did, so 6-6, 35, aren't they? But anyway, no, 6-6, 36. So we could have won by 36 points.
17 points the difference. Just a tick over 10 minutes remaining. The attendance today, 94,796 as Flanagan wins it down. Dia boots his side towards half forward. Stephen Hocking goes off the ground. Geelong appear to have the run. Couch was tackled. Gary Hocking flicks it out wide. Boss has got the run. He storms across centre wing. He fires it to half forward. The miracle worker is down there. Ablett carried under the ball. Hamilton behind. 40 metres out. Open goal. It's home. Another one.
Well, what an amazing effort. We said through the commentary they won't lie down. This is the best grand final I've seen for a number of years. Can they maintain the momentum? They've just not, or can't make the mistakes that they were making earlier. And Hamilton, who came off interchange, his second goal. And now Geelong seem to have got the run on. And Hawthorn, can they hang on? They've got a lot of injured players. They've got nobody to replace them on interchange with.
Oh, what a finish, Don. And tremendous character shown by the Cats. They trail by 11 points. Can they get the ball out of the centre? Flanagan, they've smothered it in there again. Buckenara, the ball's still there for grabs. Couch can't break away, and the umpire will call for another bounce.
Let's hope the umpires aid the game by not becoming technical with their decisions.
9 minutes left. 2 goals the difference. Linder on his own on that outer wing. Can they gather the ball? Malakalis, Bruns, smothered. Kick off the ground by Dippy Domenico. The Hawks have the numbers on this members' wing. Bacanara, over the top, Anderson. Into an open goal goes Anderson, and it's there. Hawthorn by 17 points.
Well, it was an open forward line. The only fellow down there was Dunstall. He was in the square with his opponent. So Hawthorn could flip it over as they did there, and Anderson, who's been a real headache up there, has gone and he kicked his 4th goal. But he had really no opposition.
So a tremendous effort by both sides, and we're close to the end of the game, and only 3 goals separates the two sides. Tuck, Bairstow over the top, Bruns, bounce favours Bruns. Bruns goes for goal. Brownless at the back, Ablett! This could be the record number of goals kicked in a grand final, at the moment held by Dermot Brereton. Gary Ablett has kicked 8, a chance to kick his 9th.
And that mistake coming from his brother-in-law, Michael Tuck, on the outer flank, the back flank for Hawthorn.
Here goes Ablett for goal number 9, and he's threaded it.
Alan came up to me on the Friday night after the team meeting, and I'd been through a fitness test on the Friday morning. He said, we're going to start Scotty on him and then Langers, and he goes, what about you? And I thought, well, actually I wouldn't mind having a crack at him. I see Shane Crawford take Shane Hurd now, so I thought, well, the worst scenario is he would have already kicked 8 or 9 goals by the time I got onto him. I couldn't do any worse. When he kicked his 9th and the game was getting tight, I'm thinking, please, Jeb, don't put me on him.
And for the last 5 minutes of the match, we really had slowed to a walk. We literally didn't have too many healthy players out there. And I spent a lot of time watching the scoreboard because the ball was down the other end a lot.
You think anyone's left the ground, Dennis?
I don't think so. What a game.
What tremendous stuff.
When they write the book on grand finals, this will rank with the best of them. We're back in the middle. 9 points the difference. There's the time remaining. The fast finishing Cats thwarted this time as Whitman boots it to the outer side. Condon leads in the foot race. Gary Hocking behind him. The tired Condon slipped over. Away comes Bruns. Bruns on the outer side, kicks towards centre wing. They're fighting for their football survival now. Close to the boundary line. The Brownlow medalist crashes in. And it's out of bounds and will be thrown in. Ball Couch. 13 kicks, 10 hand passes. The 2 14s. It fell forward. Whitman, the hurried kick. Inside the last 3 minutes now. Ball on centre wing. Geelong slip over. That time it was Bairstow. Morrissey the hand pass away. Pritchard the run. Goes down towards the pocket. Curran goes back and takes a very courageous mark.
The luck of the draw there where the kick came off the Hawthorn player's shin and Couch slipped over. Unbelievable.
So we're down to 2:35 now. Peter Curran deep in the left full forward pocket. He's kicked 3. Clock is running again. Whistle time on. Peter Curran. Can he seal it here? The kick falls short. Margin 132 to 144.
2 goals a difference. Darcy doesn't waste any time. Comes to the members' side. Hughes gathers pretty well. And he runs away from Brereton. He's up towards half-back. No one really to kick to. It's right on this members' wing. Collins will take it over. And that'll waste some more precious seconds for the Hawks. They lead by 2 goals. 21 goals 18 to 20 goals 12. A fantastic game of football. The 1989 Grand Final in perfect conditions here at the MCG. Couch finds some space, but he's well tackled. He gets the hand pass back. Hamilton somehow gets his foot to the ball. Up towards half forward. Stoneham flips it out the back, but Collins is the first there for Hawthorn. He kicks it across his body, and fortunately for Hawthorn, Darren Pritchard is there, and he takes the mark on centre wing.
Well, Hawthorn slowing it down, and that's what they've got to do.
A minute and a half left. Pritchard has the ball. His 23rd possession. And Pritchard doesn't waste any time and kicks it now up towards the 50-metre line. The Geelong defence punch it away. Hocking transfers play to the opposite side of the ground. Dippy Domenico can't mark. Linder a little late on the scene. Hamilton gathers, kicks it to Scott. This could be another Geelong goal. There'll be only one kick in it if Scott can get the ball. He gathers well and kicks it to Cameron, who's marked 40 metres from goal. He'll have to kick it quickly because there's under a minute left. Cameron, move it. Panic stations.
Taking too long.
David Cameron has kicked one. David Cameron has kicked two.
That'll stop the clock.
Well, what a magnificent load. What can we do in here? Geelong have got to just go straight down the centre now. They can't afford to waste time. Hawthorn, on the other hand, have just got to hold it up. It's a kick from Cameron, a real pressure one. I thought he might have taken a little long to get rid of that ball, but then again, he doesn't realise the situation.
We've kicked 8 goals, Dennis, in the last term.
What a fantastic finish. The dying seconds. Geelong need a goal to tie. And there's going to be a ball up. Valuable time is just ticking away. We're down to 15 seconds now as play restarts. Geelong must get it immediately. One down by Flanagan, taken by Buse, upended by Dippy and Domenico. They lock it up again. It looks like it's all over. The dream of back-to-back pennants is all but there as far as the Hawks are concerned. There's the siren. Hawthorn have won it by 6 points. A heart-stopper. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just seen a classic. Amazing scenes at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Alan Jeans has made history for the proud Hawthorn Football Club. The heads are bowed at Geelong, but what a magnificent performance by the Cats. They stood them up as start, perhaps one of the great teams of all time. Not perhaps, definitely. One of the great teams of all time. They stood them up as start at 40 points, and they reeled them in. Hawthorn, of course, would say Platten was down. Brereton was hurt in the opening minutes. And, of course, Ayres as well. Let's go down to Alan Jeans. He's talking with Michael Roberts.
What's it like to have back-to-back premierships now? Great. It's a tremendous feeling.
How can you get a word with a coach?
That's a tough interview to do, isn't it?
Very difficult because he's got to be very emotional. And so many people want to be there with him, the players, the training staff, the coaching staff. It's a pretty exciting time and a great effort by Hawthorn to hang on.
And the other thing you've got to consider is that they were the walking wounded at the end there.
Let's go down to Gary Buckenara now, talking with Bernie.
Gary, you're pretty emotional. Oh, yeah. It's something we've worked so long for, and all the hard work, you know, it's fantastic. I just feel so happy for Jonesy and Joyce and the boys, and oh, it's fantastic. It was a fantastic finish, Gary. You held on. There's a few sore boys in the Hawthorn team. Yeah, we really battled on. Tucky split the webbing right in his finger in the first few minutes of that quarter, so he was basically out of action. About 16 men we had in that last quarter, so it's pretty tough out there. That first quarter, they hit you with everything, didn't they? Yeah, they tried. They gave it their best shot. They played well. And you won it for Jonesy? We won it for Jonesy, Joycey, and all the boys who couldn't make it. And it's good to get another one under the belt. Oh, it's fantastic. Well done, Gary. Thanks. Congratulations.
Well, if you analyse everything in the game, if you go back and have a look at the stats, like the scores were close, only 6 points separate us, the kicks, marks, handballs, and everything was close at the end of the day. But there was one, significant difference. The media recorded us having 49 tackles to their 24, and that was the point that we were trying to get across. That's what we focused on, and I believe that was the thing that broke their game down.
What a day it's been.
Could we have the captain of the Hawthorn team, please? Tucky?
I think Tucky's still pretty involved in the emotion of it all.
He's busy.
What a great performance by him too, Dennis. 36 or 37 years of age, and still running around the ground like a 19-year-old. I guess the legs aren't the same, but his spirit is enormous.
What a team they are, Hawthorn.
And Alan Jeans, of course, who's come
Ladies
back
and gentlemen,
this year and taken over from Alan Joyce and coached them to another flag.
Michael Tuck and their coach Alan Jeans.
This team, no question, is the yardstick, the benchmark of the VFL. And they save at the moment.
89?
89.
No, I was in hospital.
Oh, you too?
I was in hospital next to you.
I can't remember because I was...
Remember, we were in hospital together and we had cans and drinking.
No, that was another injury we did.
No, that was another one. That was it.
Was it? I can't remember.
The end where you dived on the ball and stopped Geelong getting that last goal.
Actually, I read that in the paper this morning. No. I didn't remember I did that.
No, when you did that, I knew we had it won. So I knew, epitomise endeavour.
It's pretty special, you know. You can have a joke and a laugh about it, but yeah, it's pretty special, and you've got to take it the right way.
We were a side where we could laugh at times, but also play at the right place.
Well, I was happy in the respect that I played a very quiet bloke myself, but I played with blokes like yourself, Dermot, young Whitty, Rodney Eden, blokes like that.
We actually brought you in the game, didn't we?
No, had a laugh off the scenes, which is good too, because that's a part of football too. People say that you've got to win, but there's so much fun off the ground that creates a club, and we had a good time. We had a good bunch of blokes doing it.
Oh, look, it brings back good memories, mate, because you're successful, and that's obviously what all footballers want to be, and to play in two sides, to be back-to-back premiers, doesn't happen very often, so obviously that's a big thing from an individual, but it's also a great thing from a club point of view.
The Hawks, 21-18, have defeated the Cats, 21-12.
They were extremely talented players, but they loved one another's company, and they had great pride in their achievements, and I don't think they ever went out on the ground. They didn't think they could win a game, and they just loved it, being together, and they loved one another's company. And even today, to come together, and that night is a very special night for them when they all come together and just see, sheer delight of just being amongst one another's company. And one of the things the Hawthorn players had, I noticed when I got there, they had a great delight in bagging one another, and nobody ever got a big head at Hawthorn, because if you any indiscretion, didn't matter how slight it was, I mean, it was always brought back to you, and I think that helped to seal the bond amongst the players. And even 10 years later, or 20 years later, since I started, they still enjoy one another's company, and it's a delight to be with them.